Hello, everyone. This is Destiny from Pure Light, and I am here with Kyle McQueen, aka Kaalidaas. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And so, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Did you have a good New Year's last night?
Yeah, I always do.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh,
I always check out the stars and see what they're doing on that day or night.
I was talking to my daughter today, and, we're spending some time together, and, she's off school, of course, and everything. And so she was telling me she doesn't need to make a New Year's resolution. Or actually, no, scratch that. She made a New Year's resolution, and normally she doesn't have to because she always meets every goal she sets out for herself. So that's why she normally doesn't believe in New Year's resolutions. But see, this time there was something she is going to strive for.
What's that?
A triple pirouette.
Oh, okay. And go ahead and explain to everybody what that is. I know that's something to do with ballet or dancing.
Yeah,
right?
she's in ballet, so she wants to do 3 turns. She could do a double, but now she needs to do a triple.
Nice. So she's setting her goal higher than
Yes.
what she has before.
Yes.
Congratulations to her.
I
That's
know.
good. So
I
what
know.
made her decide to actually make a resolution this year instead of not every other year?
Because there was something that she hasn't done before. According to
That's it.
her, she's reached every goal she's ever set out for herself. So there was no need for her to ever plan or think of a resolution.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution, is to never have to make another resolution again because I've reached every single goal that I have. So that's pretty good.
So I thought that was good.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
yourself, do you have resolutions?
Oh, I don't set them because there's really no point, because unlike my daughter, I will fail. I'm not as positive as her. It just never, I get so caught up in, working every day and just doing, I don't know, just doing, just getting on with it, as they say.
Right, right. So there's no real point in setting it to make yourself feel more like a failure.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I do have a gym membership. Okay, we'll just put that one out there. I mean, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to lose weight this year. I'm going to go to the gym and work out and get in shape," and that's a common one, right? Wouldn't you say? So, but anyway, I have a gym membership. I just give them money. I don't go.
So maybe that could be a goal. But so your daughter basically hits every single goal that there is, and for you, your idea for the New Year's resolution is to set the bar so low that you can always hop over it to feel good.
I just don't set anything.
Okay. Well, maybe you can find a happy medium in between those two things, where you set something that's a little challenging, but you can hop over it so you feel good when you do. But I could see the point of not setting any goals. Well, when I was in the Himalayas and I was learning Yoga Nidra, which is basically where you lie down and you go into a progressive relaxation, into a very, very deep state, which is just above delta where you're sleeping. You're in like the theta state. And you have to say a resolution before you start.
Oh my.
So you say, this is what I want to stop. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop this. And it's actually pretty effective because you go pretty deep. It's similar to hypnosis, but it's even deeper.
Oh.
So that's something that's similar to a New Year's resolution. But Shuklacharya, the teacher that I was learning from there, he was saying that he's like an expert in Yoga Nidra. Like people from the town would come to him and ask him for advice on that. But he doesn't recommend it, even though it's effective, because his point is, why are you going to set a resolution and meet this goal inside of your ego or your personality? It's still the gym inside your mind. So the idea is to meditate, because if you meditate, or if you go beyond the ego, and you awaken your consciousness, all these things come to you, like the goal of quitting smoking. You'll just naturally have that craving start falling away because you're full of consciousness, and you don't crave the cigarette anymore. So you could do the yoga nidra and you'll quit cigarettes. But he doesn't recommend that. And that's his point to me as a hypnotherapist myself. He was saying that you as a yogi will not like doing hypnosis as much, or yoga nidra, as much as teaching people how to awaken their inner consciousness through meditation and through these other paths of yoga to bring all these goals to the forefront. So there's no running around in your mind trying to get to a goal, because it's like once you reach a goal, there's always another one and another one and another one, and it never ends. And that's the mantra of the ego, is more, more, more. So I reached $100,000 a year, but now I want to make 200,000. So you're a millionaire. Now you want to be a billionaire. You're a billionaire. You want to be a trillionaire. I mean, when does it stop? It doesn't. So that's why the path of yoga isn't about reaching just the goal. It's forgetting the goal and being basically in the journey, remembering what the goal is. So you're not attached to the outcome of the goal, but you're still going for it. But you're enjoying the ride on the way there.
Okay, so then what would a goal be then?
I mean, well, the ultimate goal is union with your higher self, or your divine self. Union with the divine.
Okay, because, here, let me just tell you how it is for me. Right now, my goal is just to get up in the morning.
But that's a goal. So, okay.
And to go to work and to go to the store, or, to run the errands that I have to do, and, pick up the kids from school and spend time with them, and, and homework, and, now I have to clean the house, and then I got to walk the dogs, and...
Yeah, so they're mundane goals that are everyday things that you have to take care of, basically obligations, in a way.
Right.
But your goal is to fulfill those obligations.
But I have no time after that to do whatever you're talking about.
But that's where the path of karma yoga is recommended for a lifestyle in the West, like you have, like every day, people have to pay bills and have to take their kids to school and have all these, average goals that you have to reach that are important. Doesn't mean that they're not important just because they're mundane. But the idea of karma yoga is to make your work into meditation. So whatever you're doing, whatever goal you have of getting up in the morning doing these things, you're in the state of basically what I was saying, where you don't care about the outcome, whether you reach it or not. But like, you won't get upset if you don't, but or be over ecstatic if you do. But you're still trying. You're still going to try your very, very best to make that goal. So as you try to reach that goal, you can also have that non-attachment state and have a mantra repeating in your head. So let's say you're doing the dishes, or you're picking up your children from school. You can be in this state where you're absorbed into the moment and you're repeating mantras in your head. Have you ever had, a song stuck in your head from the radio that you just can't get out of your head?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a victim of that.
I just had it tonight.
Taylor Swift?
No, actually, it's that song. Okay, I think they're saying locust. Apparently, they're saying blow a kiss, I found out.
Okay.
I thought it was locust.
Well, we see your viewpoint on affection and love here.
Locust carry a gun. And I really didn't think that really made a lot of sense when I used to sing it that way. But I'm just so glad that, my daughter, she clarified. She said, no, it's not locust, it's blow a kiss.
Well, that sounds a little more romantic there. That's better than locust.
I don't know the name of the song. Maybe that is the name of the song. Maybe it's called Blow a Kiss. I don't know. It's just this song. So I had that song in my head.
Okay, so just like you get a song stuck in your head, you can have that even playing over and over again, or a mantra that you say that has a meaning that you just repeat over and over again with that vibration. And that will lead you to union with the divine, or the goal of yoga. So you don't have to be sitting in the Himalayas meditating or by a tree. You could be picking up your daughter at school, and you could be repeating this in your head and be in that state.
Ah, multitasking.
Yeah, multitasking. But really, it's actually really being in focus, because you're absorbed in the present moment. And that's that's like one of the prerequisites, basically. You have to be in the present moment. You can't be living in the past or in the projections of the future. You have to be here and now. Doesn't mean you can't think about the future or the past, but you have to be present when you are. You can't be drifting away in that way, and that's a fantasy. So there's a difference between a dream and a fantasy. And you want to live your dream. Everybody says, live your dream, live your dreams. Well, what's the difference from a fantasy and a dream? Dreams are obtainable, fantasies are not. And fantasies always have one person as the main person that's enjoying everything, and everybody else is kind of like shadows in the background. And in a dream, everybody is happy because it's a shared experience. So
kind of like a threesome.
Kind of like a threesome, I guess you could say it like that. But
I'm sorry, I'm just kidding.
It's basically a unitary consciousness where everybody is on the same page, and everybody's happy because a dream includes everybody. So, and it's something obtainable in this lifetime. So when you're trying to manifest your dreams, it's also the same as yoga, because you're on the path to unity, to divine unity.
So that's what I want to do.
Well, that's what everybody wants to do deep down. But everyone has blocks and programming and layers of trauma and pain, and that's where we attach to the suffering of what we've been through, and we emotionally attach to those things, and it's hard to move forward and manifest your dreams, because you manifest what you're feeling. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you feel you deserve. So if you've been abused and you've had bad things happen to you, it's easy to feel like you don't deserve to have these things, or it should come really hard because it takes hard work to get what you want or where you need to go. But that's not necessarily true. So you have to take moments to analyze your belief systems, because your belief systems dictate how you interpret reality, and that's how you're projecting your dreams as well. So if you're projecting through a dirty lens, you're going to get a dirty projection in your life, and it's going to be through that filter. But if your filter's clear, you're going to project clearly as well.
Well, I'm kind of glad that you said, well, not kind of glad. I mean, I am glad that you mentioned, living in the moment, the mantra thing, whatever that is. You'll have to talk more about that, because I don't really quite know,
Oh yeah, well the mantra,
exactly what that is. But I just want to say this, because I kind of live my life in this state of always feeling like tomorrow will be better, or later on things will get better for me. So I never get a chance to I don't know, enjoy the now, though.
Exactly.
So I'm always kind of thinking of the future, when things get better, or when I'm not so busy, and then I'll have more time to do other things that I really enjoy. When the kids get older, then I'll be able to do other things.
Right, which is another mantra of the ego, because the ego always wants to project later, because that means now it doesn't have to do anything. Now you can sit around on the couch, you could play your games or do whatever you do, and tomorrow's going to be a better day.
I'm not sitting on the couch or playing games. That's the whole thing. Because I'm always in motion. I'm always going.
Or moving.
It's almost like...
it doesn't have to be you're sitting on the couch. You could be spinning your wheels around, and nothing's really happening the way that you want it to happen.
Right. And that's how I feel about these obligations that I have to do every single day. It feels like I am on a hamster wheel, and it's sort of, every day it's the same thing, and, and I feel like I'm not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, a lot of people feel like that. I felt like that too. It's a part of the human experience to go through cycles and feeling like you're trapped in a loop. And that's why there's different paths of yoga, like the path of escaping that would be meditation, but then you abandon everybody that depends on you for the obligations to be done, right? So your life actually declines if you do not fulfill your obligation. So you must fulfill the obligation. So that's why karma yoga is recommended. So within the loop, within the hamster wheel that you have to be on until you can get off of it, you can still work towards your freedom. That's the idea. So you get the best of both worlds. You know, the people that depend on you and the obligations that you have to get done will get done. But at the same time, you can raise your vibration and you can get into a better state of being, which is getting closer and closer to that liberation, to that freedom with each passing moment, instead of having the feeling like I'm trapped, I'm powerless, I can't do anything.
But what does that look like? So even though you're telling me all this, it's not as if I can just leave here today and get in my car and do this karma yoga. I mean, what is it exactly?
Well, karma means action.
Oh.
So when you're doing karma yoga, it is action. So if you're, like I said, picking up your children, or you're cooking dinner, or you're doing the dishes, whatever you're doing, that's action. And when you're fulfilling your obligations, you are doing karma. But to make it yoga, which yoga means union, you're unifying with the divine through action. So you don't have these separations of your mind and the action. Your action and your thinking and everything becomes one. There's no difference in yourself. So you're actually unifying your mind and your body and your intention and your will and everything into one fluid motion. So it's like, imagine if you're playing pool. Now, when you're lining up to hit the cue ball, right? You are not thinking about tomorrow's obligations, or you know how you have to pay the bills, or you have to send that email to that guy you forgot about. You're just in the moment, lining up those balls to get into those pockets with your mind, but your action is unified with your thoughts. So you're completely absorbed into the moment, and that's called samadhi, absorption in India. So the idea of enlightenment is being 24/7 in that absorption state, which is hard to do. But when you do karma yoga, it begins to have that process take hold, and then that state becomes easier and easier to get into, because you do it while you're doing the dishes now, instead of being like, oh, I could be getting so many more things done than doing these dishes. I could be getting my other goals met that I'd like to do. Now see, that's the split, that's the chasm between being in the moment and doing what you're doing and doing karma yoga, and then projecting about your future. And you're thinking about the future instead of being fully present in your now. So if you're doing the dishes and you're in karma yoga, you'll be having the song about locusts or blowing a kiss in your head and being happy and thinking about that while you're doing the dishes, and doing your little dance doing the dishes, and being happy being there right then, without having to wait till the next moment comes to be happy. You don't have to wait till you're done doing the dishes and where you can relax and pop open some champagne or whatever and watch TV to be happy, to escape. You don't have to escape. You could be happy within the now moment, which is called nirvana. Because nirvana is the ceasing of cravings. And when you want to watch the movie or do whatever after the dishes, that's a craving even in that moment. So people, even Jesus said something like, they desireth in their desires. So even in their desires, they're desiring something more or something else. So they're so lustful, they're so in their desires, that even within the desires that they're experiencing, so let's say they're eating a chocolate cake, they're wishing that it was a German chocolate cake instead of this other cake. And they're not happy even eating that cake. So you're never really satisfied. Your ego never gets satisfied, like that song, I can't get no satisfaction.
That's not how it goes.
Well, anyways,
yeah.
The point is...
The Rolling Stones.
Okay, yeah. So the point of that song is that your ego can never get the satisfaction that it desires. So when you do karma yoga, you're filling your body and your mind and your consciousness, your cup up with the present moment and the energy of that moment, and you can truly feel alive and be free from those and those cravings begin to go away. At first, you might feel like, oh, this is hard. This is not easy. I don't feel it. I still have these cravings. But if you keep doing it, and you keep saying the mantras in your head, and you keep trying to be in that present moment and enjoy that experience, eventually you train yourself, and those desires and stuff fall away. Because that's what the goal of meditation is too. Because Buddha was asked, there was these laborers in the fields that were plowing the fields, and they were all working and doing all these things, and they see Buddha sitting there. And Buddha's known as this great guy, so one guy walked up and challenged him. He was a worker in the fields and says, so I'm here plowing all this for everybody to eat day in and day out from the sweat of my brow, and you sit here. So what do you do? What have you done? Mm-hmm. And so Buddha's reply was, it's not what I've gained or what I've done, it's what I've lost. And what I've lost is craving, suffering, illness. All these things he has fallen away from the meditation. So, but today's world, you can't really afford in the West to do the meditation path when Buddha was here. So that's why all the yogis recommend karma yoga for the West in today's world. Because
but I have a different take on it. So, I just feel like Buddha could do that because everybody else was working. So he didn't really have to. What if everybody did that?
But Buddha was a private Buddha. There's different types of Buddhas. A private Buddha is someone going for their own enlightenment. And now there's something called a bodhisattva. Now some people would consider a bodhisattva above a Buddha, because a Buddha is someone who's awake. And there's a lot of private Buddhas that will never be known, because Buddha that everyone knows is the famous Buddha. But there's other Buddhas that have been in caves, that have been in basements, that have dwelled in the forest, or even amongst us that no one will ever know. But they're Buddhas, because they're awake, and they're at that level. But they're private Buddhas. So what a bodhisattva is someone that, their quote is, and the mantra they live by is, until the last blade of grass reaches enlightenment, I'm going to deny myself my own enlightenment, because they're working for everybody else. And that's what Jesus was. He was a bodhisattva. So it's someone who has already obtained liberation, but chooses to incarnate into the body for everybody else's sake. So that's why some people would view Buddha as selfish. And there has been there's Swami Vivekananda has written some books on that, how Buddha was a selfish person in a way, if you look at it that way. And a bodhisattva is where it's at. And a lot of people say that's where it's at. But Buddha was necessary, because the private Buddha was a culmination of all these other Buddhas. And so was Jesus. It's like all these incarnations that have already come before, that have reached this state. It comes into this one famous person that reaches the whole public and touches the whole world in that way too. So it's a function that was needed. But it doesn't mean everybody should copy that person and do that. And that's where the word guru comes in. Because a guru is... I don't get it. Well, a guru is somebody that tells you what to do, but doesn't do what they tell you to do themselves. And an acharya, or a teacher, is someone who walks the walk, is someone that says, oh, do this and this, and I do it too. I eat those foods. I exercise like this, and now I'm going to tell you to do it.
Well, yeah.
But there's functions that are necessary for different things. So if someone was going to copy somebody, should be an acharya, or meaning a teacher who leads by example, or a bodhisattva who's sacrificing for everybody else. But even if everybody became a bodhisattva, everybody would be sacrificing for everybody, and there wouldn't be anybody left. So everybody has their roles to play.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I tell my kids not to do what I do, and just do what I say.
Yeah. So you would be a guru to them.
Yeah.
You're your children's guru.
Yeah, although, there's a lot of things that I do, I don't tell them about, of course, but...
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that gurus do that they probably don't tell everybody about as well. I remember this one story Shukracharya told me, and it's really interesting because it has to do with this, where there was this mom that came to him with her son, and she said, he's addicted to these sweets, he loves these chocolates, make him stop. Use your mind to make him stop, because this guru had powers. Mm-hmm. And so the guru sat and took a deep breath in and said, come back to me in 2 weeks. And she said, okay, and she left, and she came back. And when she brought him back in the 2 weeks, he did his magic, his abilities on him, and then the child was completely done. He didn't want the sweets anymore, no more cravings, nothing. And then she said, thank you so much, he's so much better and everything, but why did you make me wait 2 weeks? and he said, well, I hadn't conquered the cravings of the chocolate myself yet, so I couldn't help you. So he took the 2 weeks to stop eating the chocolates himself, and then he could do that. So that's kind of like, see, he's a guru. He doesn't exactly, do what he says, but and then he doesn't say everything. He said, come back in 2 weeks. He didn't say, hey, I'm eating the chocolates too, so I can't really help you there. So everybody, is a little bit of a magician. We all have to be with anybody that's in a lower state of consciousness. If you're in a higher state, you have to treat those people in a certain manner, which is how you are a magician. Just like the guru was to that lady and the child, because he's in a higher state of consciousness. You're in a higher state of consciousness than your children, so you have to be the magician for your children. And that's why Santa Claus is real up into a certain point, and these things is because you're playing that magician role.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I guess my New Year's resolution would be to not have any more resolutions anymore like your daughter, because I've fulfilled every single goal that I have. And then also it's kind of nice that she didn't have any, because it also says that she's not overshooting. Some people, they're perfectionists, so they're like, oh, well, I've conquered all my goals, let's create more. But see, she's saying, oh, I don't have any goals because I've fulfilled them all. But that also means she's content. So, because contentment is the greatest wealth. So if you can be content, that's awesome.
She was telling me how she always sets out goals and she reaches them and is constant.
Yeah. But I mean, it's good that she's not saying, oh, I've conquered all these goals, let me set 15 more that are almost impossible to reach. And she's always reaching for her goals. Because there's certain people that you would say they're like overachievers. So they're like, oh, I got my 4.0, but now I want to get into this specific college, and I got to get this done, and this and this and this, and it's like they'll never reach those goals. They'll never be done reaching those goals. So they're never really content in the moment, which goes contrary to all this yoga stuff. But it sounds like your daughter's kind of already in her yogi state, because she's reaching the goals, but she's happy with those goals. She's not trying to go for something that's so outside of herself that it's almost impossible to reach.
Yeah, well, she's always very positive. That's one thing that I really admire about her. So, even, she goes to class, and if she learns a new dance step and she can't get it, it doesn't matter to her. It doesn't bring her down. She just keeps trying. And that's
equanimity. That's a yogi's point of view.
Wow.
So
okay.
You have a yogi daughter, a yogini already.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I will let her know.
Yeah.
Or maybe I shouldn't tell her.
Maybe you shouldn't tell her.
Yeah, okay.
It could ruin it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I remember when she was really little and she was in gymnastics, and she really wasn't that good, or, okay, I shouldn't say good, more like she didn't have the natural talent for it. So but God bless her, she thought she was the best. I mean, it was fabulous. She would just come to me and go, Mom, look what I did. I'm the best. Yay. And so. And
what a cool feeling that is.
It was. But most of the time when I was watching her, I'd be putting my head down going, oh my gosh, So, but, no, but she's great. She's always very positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was having a conversation with her, and everything was going wrong at the time, and I remember saying, and everybody's just, I don't know why I'm here. It's like, everyone's suffering. And I said something like that. And she's like, well, I'm having a good time. And I don't know why, but that just made me feel better. I'm like, well, if she's having a good time, I guess I can too. I mean, it's just having your attitude. So everything is in your attitude. And that's why they say having a great attitude is gratitude. That's why it starts with the G. So that's what the G in gratitude is a great attitude. So.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, and the more that you're thankful for things, the higher your vibration gets, and the more positive things come your way. So it is true in a sense of vibrationally what you send out there, you get back. Maybe not literally like, oh, I did all this work and I didn't get it back, so I'm mad. But it's more like vibrationally and how you feel about everything, and being thankful and grateful for even the little things in your life will create that vibration.
Does it really work?
Attract. Yes, on a vibrational level, not on a conceptual level, where you think well, I did this and I deserve this and then it didn't happen. And you know what? I was using this law of attraction thing and I was trying to think about money and all these things. And you know what? I didn't get out of debt and it didn't work for me. But it's because their vibration is not aligned with their thoughts of trying to manifest. So if you think, oh, I want a Porsche, and it's not really tangible and you don't really feel like you can really get it, it's not going to come. But if you feel like, okay, if I do this and this, I'll feel better and I'll be closer to my goal, you can definitely manifest that. So it's whatever is in reach and that you really feel you can actually manifest. And your vibration has to be high enough to be able to manifest it. So let's say you do a bunch of negative things and your karma is really bad because, you know, you cheat people and you lie and then you try to do the law of attraction. It won't work because you're not living in truth. And what living in truth is complete harmony between action, thought, and deed. So if you say something with your tongue, you do it, and you think you should do something, and then you do it. You don't think, oh, I should do this, but then you don't do it. And you're like, oh man, I knew I should have did it. I thought I should do that, but I didn't do it. So see, there's that chasm between what you are and what you think you should be. So it's kind of like, they say in the Bible, a house divided against itself. And Tony Robbins talks about this, where if you think you should do a certain thing and you feel like you should, but then you don't because you have doubts and certain things about yourself so you don't go forward, or fears, then there's a huge chasm in between your manifesting ability and you're not aligned with your vibrational intention. So if you intend all this money in abundance, you have to truly believe it. Not only that, you have to truly feel like that. You have to feel like $1 million. You have to feel your worth, and you have to send out that gratitude and that expectation in a way that the universe will match you back. But you have to do the work of bringing your vibration to that level. And the higher your vibration is, the faster and more powerful your thoughts are. So if you're in a low vibration and you think Porsche, you're not going to get it. Or it's going to be years before. There's going to be a huge gap before it comes into your life. But if you're in a very high vibration and you're aligned with your true self and you think Porsche, it might roll over you in five minutes. I mean, it might be right there. So you have to have your internal power strong, and you have to line up with your intentions, with your actions and your deeds and your words. So when you live in truth, you're able to manifest.
Okay, well, you know what? I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to do it. So, you see, I know when I get home tonight, everything you just said to me, I'm going to forget. Mm-hmm. Or I'll remember some things, but it's not going to really be in my head. It's not going to be like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I know what to do now. Mm-hmm. Okay, even though I heard everything you said and all that, and it makes sense, but honestly, tomorrow, I don't know, I wouldn't know what to do.
Okay. Well, the first step, I would say, is to remove doubts. Because doubts are the main thing that block your faith, and your faith is where your power is. So if you have doubts about how things work, or your place in the world, or what your purpose is here, or if your abilities are good enough to do it, or if you'll ever get off the hamster wheel, the negativity has to do with the fear and the doubt. So removal of fear and doubt and replacing that with faith would be the first step.
Well, I think what I meant was, okay, like, I think I want something a little more tangible. For instance, if I go to the gym and I'm with a trainer, okay, and I say, oh, well, trainer, I want to get rid of this flab on the back of my arms. So they'll be like, oh, okay, do these exercises, and you're going to do three repetitions of 15, and now you're going to, like, they will, so I have something that I can do, and then I know, okay, if I do these exercises exactly how they're saying it, I'm going to get rid of this flab on the back of my arm. So I think I want something a little more
tangible
like
in that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you would do is when you wake up, and you have to wake up with a consciousness of being aware of when you are doubting or when you are in fear. So that's all you have to do. You just have to remember.
I'm not doubting or in fear.
Not yet.
Oh,
But when it
oh.
comes to that
Oh
point,
my gosh.
because we all have them inside, until they're all removed, there would be nothing to do. So when you have the doubt that comes up, you have to be aware of it. Most of the time it's subconscious. You don't really realize it because you just go on automatic, like everybody's on autopilot. So you have to be aware of the doubts when they come up. So if you're going to do something and then the doubt pops up, be aware of the doubt first. And say, okay, I doubted it, there it was. And don't judge it. Don't say, get down on yourself like, oh, I can't be doubting. That's not good. Allow it to be there. It's okay.
But
So
I'm
just
not
be aware.
doubting. But I'm not doubting. I just want to do. I just want something to do. Is there something?
But this is doing.
What is
Because
doing?
the first,
What?
like I said, the first step is removal of the fear and doubt. And everybody has fears and doubts. If you didn't, you would be the most secure, confident person. You wouldn't need these steps. So it's the removal of these things that you want to focus on. But you're saying you want a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. So the first step is to become aware of when you are in fear and when you are in doubt. And the way to do that is you have to check in with your gut and your body. You have to be connected with your body, okay? So when you have that anxiety, when you have anxiety, you're worrying or you're in fear about the outcome of something, right? Because you wouldn't be in anxiety if you didn't think in your head about something bad happening to you or something not working out or not having enough money. You wouldn't have anxiety if you didn't worry about those things. So, or worry about getting in an accident or something bad happening to your children or whatever you worry about. That in that moment, just be aware. In the beginning, just be aware of, okay, I had a fear, I had a doubt. When you have awareness of that you're in fear and you admit that you have a fear, that's the first step to taking the power away from that fear. And then once you're aware, I am fearful of this thing, I'm fearful of flying, I'm fearful of an accident or whatever it is, then later the next step after you do this for, let's say you do this for 2 weeks or a month straight, okay? And you get into the habit of just being aware and noting when you're in fear or doubting. And when you got that down and you know for a fact when you're doubting and you're in fear, the next step is to, in the moment when you're doubting or in fear, to shift it in the moment. So shift it to something else, because there's always a flip side to the coin, right? So if you have a fear of something, you can replace it with the opposite. So you could say, no, I am protected. Okay, let's say you have a fear of driving in the car.
But I don't have a fear.
But let's say you do. Okay, let's say someone has a fear, like your son did. He had a fear of driving. So let's say you have the fear of driving in the car, like you're going to get in an accident. So what you would do is in that moment when you're like, I'm fearful of driving, I might get in an accident, you change that to, I am confident in my abilities to drive, and I am secure and safe in God's light or in the energy of the universe that is holding me and protecting me. And everything is meant to be as it should. And so when you change it to that and you make that statement to yourself, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind through your self-talk. Because we all have self-talk. We all talk to ourselves, and it's usually negative. It's usually, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'm fearful of this because of this. It might go bad. It might go wrong. It's always usually something negative. So you have to work at becoming positive. And that's why most people are in suffering, is because their programming at a very deep level is based upon fear and doubt. And that's what blocks the good things from coming into your life. That's what blocks the faith. That's what blocks the belief of, I'm okay, everything's good.
Okay, I was just hoping that maybe there was some sort of exercise or something. It hurt.
Yeah. Resolution.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
It just hurts. I don't know why these things, they hurt.
Yeah,
Like-
she's wearing headphones that aren't as comfortable as mine.
We'll just edit that one out, that part out. But let me ask you this. So, am I wrong then when I have chores to do and I'm looking forward to rewarding myself or treating myself? Like, okay, after I'm done folding these clothes and putting them away, I'm going to go watch my favorite TV show I DVR'd. And I'm going to reward myself
Right.
with that because I did all these things. I cleaned the house. I, put these things away.
Well,
So,
let me ask
is
you
that
this.
wrong?
Let me ask you this. It's not about wrong or right, but let me ask you this. if you did all that and then you had something that interrupted your ability to do what you wanted to do with the reward, would you be upset about it? Would you feel frustrated because you didn't get to watch the movie, and now my friend needs me to go pick him up, and I just did all the dishes, I just finished everything, and now I have to go and drive and help this person out that's my friend, and I can't even relax? Would you be upset about it?
I don't think about it until after.
After what?
Because I get distracted. So even though I'm looking forward to watching my show, and then I get this phone call from my friend, oh my gosh, I locked my keys in the trunk of my car, and I'm at these people's house, and I need a ride.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm no longer now thinking about my TV show.
Well,
I'm thinking about my friend. So then I'll go pick her up, and I do all that. And then it won't be until later when I get home, I'll feel the disappointment of now it's too late to watch my show. Now I have to postpone it and wait for it another time.
But so it's delayed disappointment, but it's still there. The disappointment's still there.
Yeah,
And
but I never think about it at first.
Well, that's okay. But the point is that you felt the disappointment. And so that's where it's not in the spirit of karma yoga, because you have an attachment to the outcome.
But it's not that bad of a disappointment, okay?
But it's still a disappointment.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit, because for me, I'm more focused on my friend getting home safely and that kind of thing. So
Right.
that's more of a reward than actually my show,
Right.
by the way. So
Right.
because
But
we did
that's
something good.
You're kind of on an evolved level because of that. But having that mindset of still being disappointed can bleed into other areas of your life to where it is a bigger disappointment for something else.
Well, there's other things that have been, I mean, that wouldn't really, that barely...
That's a minor one.
Yeah, it barely even shows up
Right.
on the Richter scale, actually.
Right.
You know,
But there's still the
to be
Richter
honest
scale,
with
and
it.
and
it's
there's-
not like I'm coming home going, oh gosh, now I don't get to watch my show. It's not even like that. I'll just, I'm just kind of like shrug it off like, oh well, I'll just watch it tomorrow. But
Right.
it's not, devastating or there's other things that actually would be a lot bigger.
Right. And that's the point. So like in karma yoga, you would be working especially with the smaller stuff first till you're strong. And then you would build up to where you have a non-attachment to bigger things. So like, let's say you didn't get to watch your movie, you'd be like, it's okay, because you're in that state. And it's a fulfilled state. It's not like, oh, I can't worry about the outcome, so I have to just and sit down and restrain myself. It's not about that. It's about being so full of that karma yoga spirit that it really doesn't bother you. For real, genuinely. Not like you're trying. You don't have to try. It's from practice. So when you keep practicing and you keep doing karma yoga, your vibration will keep raising higher and higher, and these attachments will fall off. And eventually, you'll be free from craving to the point where you'll be okay with anything. Like you could die, and you're okay with death. Someone could die. It doesn't mean that you don't feel anything. It just means that your acceptance of whatever the outcome is.
Well, yeah,
and it depends on levels. It is degrees.
I think it just depends on your life, and like the older you get, the more disappointments. The more bad things will happen to you. So like you pointed out, like death and loss, and
right.
Maybe lots of things. Like I remember, I had like baby pictures of my kids. They were on my computer, and they all got wiped out. I mean, these are things I will never. Yeah. And that really, really bothered me for a long time. And then it happened again. Okay, so now I'm like, I don't care. I really have hardly any pictures of my kids. They won't even let me take pictures of them. Every time I try, they're always putting their hands in front of their face and all that. And now I finally just let it go. I just try to remember in my mind what they were like when they were really little and so cute, and
life is a great teacher, and that's what it teaches you, is to let go when you're so rigid, and it's not flowing, and life is like a river, and you have to be in the moment and flow with it, and that's where you're not in suffering, because the suffering comes from thinking things have to be a certain way, and then when they don't line up with that, you're disappointed or you're upset, and that's the attachment to the outcome. So if you're just in the motion of moving with the flow into the ocean from the river, you're fine. And so that's what life teaches you as you get older, from all these disappointments that life keeps teaching you and showing you and showing you. It wears you down like a rock in water.
I just learned not to expect anything.
Well, that's the idea.
You know?
But that's why doing this karma yoga is making that choice earlier on consciously, so you can evolve faster. So you can get to that goal of being where you are when you're in your 70s and 80s, but younger. So you get that wisdom and knowledge earlier. That's like what, because there's faster even paths than karma yoga to get to the goal, like meditation and those things, but that requires something else. So that's why I said for this age, in the Kali Yuga age, where everything is sensuality and now and impulsiveness, the karma yoga is the one that's recommended. So you don't have to sit there forever and do this thing, but it still moves you along faster to that state than if you weren't to do nothing at all and just let life take its course, because you're essentially bumping through life back and forth blind, because you don't know really what life's doing until you see it in hindsight. They say hindsight's 20/20, because you get to see, oh, that's what it was teaching me. I see the lessons very clear. In my 20s, I didn't know that. I acted a certain way, and then I matured and I grew, and I don't do that anymore. But if you do karma yoga, it speeds up life's process.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, well, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you? It's great for everybody to do that.
Well, I feel a lot better, because now, when I get home, I got a bunch of laundry to do, and now I'm not dreading it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like, this is for God. I mean, now I have something.
Yes.
It's like I almost look forward to it now.
Right. And then there's also another thing, which is like the pairs of opposites, meaning hot and cold, pleasure and pain, and these things, they're the enemy of mankind, are people. Because when we we have aversion. Aversion and attraction is also that. So if you're attracted to something and you get attached to a certain pleasure, when it's gone, you suffer. And when you avoid doing something that you don't want to do, but you have to do it, you dread it and you have anxiety and pain about, and so you psychologically suffer before you do it. But then you notice when you actually do the action, it's not so bad. It's kind of like that.
So, I know, that happens to me all the time.
Right, yeah. So it's kind of like when you're doing karma yoga and you're doing the laundry and you're happy in that state, that's where the craving starts leaving you, because you don't go into these extremes of aversion and attraction, and no matter what comes your way, you're okay. Like, I came up with a quote when I was on this path, and it just came to me one day when I was in a meditation. And what it was I can enjoy, or you or anybody, you can enjoy anything you want as long as it's along the way. And and I'm talking about the way is like capital T and capital W, like the way, this path. As long as it's on the path.
Like that old adage, smell the roses.
Yeah, kind of like that. But it's like you don't go on to a detour. You just stay on your path. You stay on the horse.
Right.
But whatever comes your way, smell the roses. If someone comes in, they're really a joy to talk to, a stranger, talk to them and enjoy that moment, and then move on. But don't seek out something on like not along the path for pleasure or something to escape it. Because if you do that, you constantly create this back and forth thing, and you keep going on the same shoreline when you really should be sailing, a different way.
Because now I feel like after this, I feel like I can now feel more relaxed when I'm doing chores.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not going to procrastinate, because I am a big procrastinator.
Which is aversion.
I really try to avoid doing things. I mean, you can only do that for so long, because the trash has to be taken out. Right. I mean, you can't just let it sit there for days on end,
It'll get worse, yeah.
So kind of like that, oh my gosh, do you remember that book, where the sidewalk ends? And there was that poem in there about the girl that didn't take the trash out.
No, I've never.
Something Sylvia Stout. She didn't take the trash out.
That rhymed.
Yeah. No, well, it's a poem.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, but okay. Anyway, so I can't remember it, but what I'm saying is that now I feel like there's like a real purpose, like more of a purpose than just taking the trash out and getting it out of your house.
Exactly.
Like I feel like there's a lot more to it.
There is.
And it's not just this mundane, like stupid. Like it's very important.
Right.
So now I feel like, you know what? I'm probably gonna go home and I'm just gonna do all this stuff. I'm not gonna be like, oh no, I'll do it later.
Right. That's the aversion to attraction. And then there's one more point I have to add, which is the over sense of I am doing this. Like if you're in your ego, meaning like the self-conscious too much, like I am taking the trash out, I am doing the dishes. You're so aware of what you're doing. And that also creates all these other complexes. So if you're just absorbed in the moment, you're not really aware like, oh, I'm doing the dishes. You're just doing the action. And no matter what it is, you're happy.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like the dog that's always wagging their tail. Those dogs there's some of those dogs that are always happy, and there's certain dogs that need all these conditions. Like they need you to be petting them or a certain food, and then they're happy, right? But then there's certain dogs that are just always happy.
Oh my gosh, you know what? Well, my Chihuahua pug dog that I have. She's so cute, though. She's so cute.
Yeah, she is.
But she could eat and eat until she dies. I mean, for sure. Like, she can never get enough, that one. So.
Right. And that's why, like, your happiness should not be based on conditions. And that's the difference between happiness and bliss. Happiness is based on conditions. As long as everything's good, you're happy. But if it's not, you're not. But see, when you're not attached and you're in bliss, which is beyond happiness, when you cultivate bliss, it doesn't matter your conditions. You're content and happy no matter what. So you're always in that state. So that's awesome. That's what equanimity is.
I have a New Year's revolution. Revolution? No, resolution.
Resolution. It is a revolution.
You know what?
It's an internal revolution.
I was just going to say that. It's a revolution
for
me. Okay, equanimity. That's my goal. That's what I'm going to try to do now.
Yes, and equanimity is the first goal of yoga. That's the first goal of yoga. So before you reach the union, you go for equanimity first, and that's the first goal you're setting.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, you know what? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel so much better.
Me too. So that's good. Well, I guess that's it for tonight. And this is Kaalidaas signing off with
Destiny.
Thank you very much. This is Pure Light Radio. And everyone have a happy new year and enjoy the rest of their evening.